Good morning and welcome to Willow's Green Permaculture. Today we're doing an interview with a farmer. This is Peter Jongenotter, my friend, the retired dairy farmer.
Hi, glad to share some time and information with you.
We're going to do an interview about Peter's life as a farmer and what he's been doing since he was retired. So if this is something you're interested in, then let's get started. So, Peter, we've known each other now for going to be 6 years in March. That's right. Yeah. It was in March of 2020 when I met you at a movie night here, if you recall, here at the church. And we've been talking a lot, and I learned a lot from you as a farmer. And so I'd like to talk to you about how your life was as a farmer and how your life is now that you're a retired farmer and what you're doing. So, how did you get into farming?
Dad was into farming. He immigrated to Canada, him and Mom, in 54. And Dad just got out of the war in Holland, and he see too many people getting hungry, so that was one thing he really wanted to do in his life. So he was farming. After Mom and Dad got married in 54, they came to Canada here, and they ended up here in Belleville in 55. I was born in 55, they were here in 54. And Dad was farming and building houses at the same time.
What did he farm? What did your dad farm?
Dad farmed in Belleville. He worked for Jack Parrott, and then he built houses in the daytime for Jack, and he farmed at night.
And what did he grow on his farm?
He was milking cows.
Oh, yeah, so he's a dairy farmer.
He's been a dairy farmer all his life. And he was working all the land where the city of Belleville is sitting on now, at the east end of Belleville.
Oh, wow. And so how did you get into the farming?
Well, I loved it because Dad was, after he left Jack Perry, he went farming on his own. So then he went out and he knew the building trade, so he was out doing that in daytime. And then I was just left with the farm as a little kid.
Oh, nice.
So then I went and just did things, just whatever I figured it was right to do, and I just loved it.
So this is you. So who's this in the picture here?
My smaller brother Andrew in the picture.
And what are you guys doing here? These
We're
huge
taking
logs?
out fence bottoms on the farm, taking that lumber to a local sawmill and cut up for lumber like 2x4s and 2x6s or whatever we could get out of them.
You cut these yourselves?
Yes.
And how old are you in this picture?
16.
It must have been fun to have all that open space as a kid and to explore everything.
Well, exactly. I could do that, and I made a lot of mistakes, but you learn from the mistakes.
Like, give me an example. Do you remember something?
Oh, yeah, like planting soybeans in muddy soil. No, it has dried, like our crop for the first couple of years. I couldn't get advice because soybeans wasn't growing in this area. So the first few years, I only got half a crop.
So soybeans, you guys were kind of trying something new at the time.
At the time.
Oh, that's good.
It was fairly new on this side of Toronto, and the soybeans need dry, sandy soil. And then after I made mistakes and started doing that, we rented land. Our farm was in heavy clay, and we rented sandy line, and I was getting these bumper crops now all the time because that's exactly the type of land that soybeans wanted.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. Now, that sounds like something you were doing as a young adult. But earlier you were talking about being like when you were a little kid living on your dad's farm. What was that like? When you were 7 years old or 8 years old, do you remember anything? And you were real small.
I was already driving tractor on the road when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
Because I got pulled over when I was 14.
You got pulled over?
By the cops.
What were you doing?
Driving the farm truck on the road.
Did you enjoy doing that? Did you enjoy
because I was doing stuff that I was not supposed to be doing. Oh yeah, like 14 years old, and you have to make business decisions and stuff like that. Oh, I loved it.
Oh, wow. So your dad gave you a lot of responsibility.
Exactly.
Oh, that's nice. Best way to learn.
That's, you learn, you live and learn.
Did you take over the farm when you were a young adult, or what? How did that work? How did you...
When I was in high school, Dad was in the hospital, so I didn't like school at all. If I could stay home, I stayed home a lot, putting crops in the springtime or harvesting in the fall.
Yep.
I stayed home from school. I never went on field trips or nothing like that. Whenever that was on, I wanted to farm.
Yeah.
But I was very particular in what I did. The cows are a good time clock. They're very particular on their time. So you learn to make things easier. Like, we were in the summertime, we would let the cows out. Like, I would milk them in the morning and then let them out in the pasture. But then we'd bring them in at noon hour before it got too hot in the barn because it was cooler. But if I come out of the field at 11:30, I'd have to go out in the field and get them. If I come home at 12 o'clock, they were at the door waiting to get in the barn. If I was home at 12:30, I'd have to go out in the field and get them again.
If you didn't show up in time, they'd just take off. It's all, he's not coming. Let's go back out and have some fun in the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, at some point, it sounds like you had a lot more responsibility as a high school kid because your dad was in the hospital. Was that at the point at which you kind of took over the farm? Was there a point at which sort of you were the one who was really in charge of the farm, like at the starting point for that?
Yes.
It was basically then.
Yeah, already, yeah.
You were starting to make some of the bigger decisions, like, because you talked about moving into other areas apart from dairy. Like when you were a high school kid, basically taking care of the farm, how many dairy cows did you have?
Well, we were milking 40 cows.
40, okay.
And then we were doing cash crop on the sideline.
So what cash crops were you doing?
Corn, grain, soybeans.
And where'd you sell those? Where'd you sell? Oh, hay too. And where'd you sell the cash crops to?
Wherever the market was. Before, I found out later, we made a big mistake. As we would just grow a crop wherever we could grow easy. But the mistake we made earlier was you should find a market and then grow that crop. Find a market for your crop first and then grow whatever the market was.
So, and where, for example, over your years of farming, sort of where have you sold to? Like locally, or nationally, or internationally, or all three? How far has your scope been?
My scope has been all over the world.
All over the world.
I grew hay. I sold hay, bales of hay, 10 years ago to Florida. But they'd taken my best hay I had in the barn, which I was going to put through the cows, but my milk quota was already full. And they were paying me $3-4 a bale for that and all that. And I had the money in my pocket before the truck left the yard.
Okay. Before
I was growing hay for horse guys around here, and I had to carry them for a while before I get my money.
You deliver them yourself?
No, that's one thing I never did. If you wanted it, you come and get it.
I didn't understand when Peter said I had to carry them. It meant I had to wait sometimes for them to pay me. And later he told me that sometimes he had to wait up to a year to be paid for some of the stuff that he sold to local farmers. Okay.
I don't believe in running in the roads.
Oh, that's good. And what are some of the further afield places you've sold to?
I was farming the last few years the guinea beans to Japan. But that crop, the crop is sold before you even have it in the ground.
Oh, wow. If your crop was sold before having it in the ground, what happened if you'd have a crop failure or something?
You'd have to guarantee you so much. You wouldn't do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you were guaranteed you'd give them that much grain, or there was a clause in there where in case of a disaster crop.
Did that ever happen that you had something sold ahead of time, but you had nothing to give at the end of the season?
No, never did.
Oh, never did. Now, did the size of your farm change from when you were a teenager to, let's say, just before retirement? How big was your farm?
Oh yeah, it was really big. But instead of going bigger and bigger, milking more cows, I found more different things I could make money at, like diversifying more, growing crops. I did a little bit of custom work.
What do you mean by custom work? What does that mean?
Like I'd buy machinery. Before, we always had customers like corn harvesting to come and fill the silo for us, but then we could never get it done on time, the right time we wanted. So I went and invested in my own machinery and did work on the sideline for other farmers, because the farmers were too small to have all that machinery.
So, like, what's an example of something you did for other farmers?
Go fill a silo.
Go fill a silo. Well, you know what? That's always been a mystery to me, like seeing these big silos. So, how do you fill a silo?
Like with a machine. I was running the harvester all the time. Then I'd come in with all my machinery, and they'd have to get other people to come and help me with that. I just brought myself and machinery. And
did your farm change size over the years? How big was it at the beginning? How many acres?
We bought the farm, it was 200 acres.
Yeah. You stuck with those 200 all through your life?
No. We started 200, and then I would, if I could get land at a reasonable cost, I could make money on it, I would rent more land. I rented more land than I owned, a lot more land.
Okay.
And if I could get land really cheap, I would rent it and grow a crop on it.
What was the most land you rented at any given point?
Maybe up to 1,000 acres.
1,000 acres. But you always stuck with your 200 acres of your farm?
The farm base, yes.
Okay. Oh, it's really interesting. Now, recently you retired.
Yes.
That's always a bit of a mystery to me, because I see the big farms. I see the big machinery. You know, I mean, I own a car. I know how much a car costs. But I look at farm machinery, and first of all, the stuff that you drive, it's 5, 6, 7, 10 times bigger than a car. Plus all those other things that go with it. Plus there's more than one drivable machine. And I think we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. I have no idea, really. It's beyond my comprehension, the amount of money that a farmer has to sort of, and actually, before I ask you about the retirement, how did you do that? How does a farmer have all that machinery?
Nowadays, it's misleading, because a lot of farmers rent machinery instead of own it.
Yeah.
Because the cost, like what you just said earlier, the cost is too high. Like when I was getting out, the costs were getting too high, and we had big customer operators come and fill our silo because they could do it faster and easier than I could do it.
However, I mean, of course, that makes complete sense, renting, and also because, you know, you have 20 farmers, and they don't all need to have their own machinery, let's say, or 10 farmers. I don't know how many people can share a single thing, but now, however, but even renting, when I think of renting a car, you know, for decades, not decades, but well, up until I was in my mid-30s, I didn't own a car. I only bought a car just before my daughter was born. And so I'd get around by bicycle or public transit. And if I needed to go somewhere further afield and I wanted to be independent of trains and buses, then I'd rent a car. But car rental isn't cheap. And so I imagine all this machinery, this very, very specialized machinery, that must still be expensive to rent it. And plus, if everybody needs it all at the same time, let's say you're a harvester, you're talking about a harvester. Yes. Well, I mean, maybe you only have a window of several days to harvest. Maybe everybody wants the machine. How did that work?
Well, you have to find a good operator and talk to them early. The day you want to fill a silo, doesn't you go and call them. You call them 4 months ahead of time. It says, I got so many acres of corn that has to come off, you know, and then I'll tell you when I can do it. But then he knows that he has to come and harvest at my farm 100 acres of corn to come off.
Yeah.
So he can put that I've been spoken for, but not the exact date because I don't know back then when I wanted to come and do it.
Yeah.
But he knows that then I've got 100 acres of corn to come off at Jongenotter's.
Okay. So now, next question is, and this I'm sort of more interested in a general overview. You know, obviously there are a lot of expenses, whether you're owning or renting, or owning land, renting land, owning machinery, renting machinery. You've got expenses and your seed or whatever, and all the rest that you put in. And then obviously you got your sales. Like as far as let's say they call it a profit margin or whatever you want to call it, a break-even margin, or how was that for you? Your spending compared to what you'd get out of it each year.
It all depends on the harvest you get on that year. Sometimes I made some good money, and other years I lost a lot of money. That's the chance you take. But if you get too many bad years, well then you're finished too.
But yeah, I'm guessing you didn't have too many bad years.
No. But then I'm a very, I should say, not religious guy, but my Sundays meant a lot for me. We didn't do any crop work on Sundays at all. I had to milk the cows and feed the cows because I couldn't find the switch where I could turn the cows off and turn the cows on again.
Of course. That's nature.
That's part of nature, so you worked with that.
That's right.
But the only thing I did was looked after my cows on Sunday.
Yeah, and you know what? You know, as far as God's concerned, nature is God's, is God's thing. You know,
that's the way He created it.
That's right. And so
you have to
you're
work
taking
with
care. Yeah, that's right. You're taking care of God's creation.
Exactly.
Yeah, any day of the week.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that, speaking of good years, bad years, and finances and so on, now you're retired. How did that work out for you as far as as far as being able to retire after a lifetime of farming?
Well, I slowed down a lot. Just do everything. I do a lot of gardening. I'm playing around in the garden right now, growing my own food. Just trying different things. Some things are working out, but I don't use a rototiller or not. Like that's something I'm learning myself. I don't work the soil no more than I have to. I told you before. I just loved being in the field, and so I was working the soil too much. It wasn't necessary. I'm finding that, but I'm finding those things out now.
And how did you find that out?
Because I can't believe the worms I have in the garden right now doing the work for me.
How are you sort of encouraging those worms to be there?
I leave the soil alone.
Yeah.
I had to discipline myself. Like in the fall when I'm done with the garden, I just go with the pointed shovel and dig in 6 inches so the rain and all the snow can soak into it.
Yep.
And then in the fall, I just go over it with the rake and then put my seed in.
Nice.
And that's all I do.
Yeah.
But I can't believe all the holes I'm getting in my garden from the worms. So that the worms doing the work. And it's so neat to see.
So yeah, how does that make you feel to see
this
transition?
Great. It's great because of the crops I'm getting in the garden right now. This year for the first time I'm growing the climbing beans, and I just had a bumper crop. I'm picking beans every couple of days.
What do you grow them on so they can climb? How do you get them to climb?
Just on a wire fence.
Oh, nice, very nice, very nice. It must be different sort of working in a backyard garden compared to working on 200 acres or sometimes 1,000 acres that you've rented. What are the biggest similarities and the biggest differences between those two very different activities?
Well, I find it rewarding because I'm growing a lot of my own food right now. I'm just picking my meals out of the garden, and I was doing like that farming, but I wasn't eating the food off the farm, but I was growing it for the cows. And I was getting great protection of the cows, and I was very content with what I had.
Did you ever eat food that you grew off the farm or have milk that you were producing off the farm? Did you ever use that yourself?
Oh, yeah, I drank milk right out of the milk tank. I was drinking 4% milk until I got cut off.
What do you mean until you got cut off?
Because I was too much butter fat in it.
Okay.
I was breaking out my face, so I went to the doctor and he cut me off milk.
Oh, so you were drinking the milk you were producing?
4% milk, exactly.
Oh, that's nice.
Milk. And
it
was rich, yeah.
Oh,
but then I broke my leg too, because you're drinking calcium. I was playing hockey too when I was a teenager. Not professional hockey, just local hockey. Yeah.
And did you eat some of the stuff you were producing for your cows, like some of the grains and stuff like that?
Not really.
No.
No. It just.
So when you were a farmer, when you had your big farm, and you're like, what did you do for food?
Well, I just like everybody else, just went to the grocery store.
And so now you're producing some of your food in a backyard garden.
Yeah.
What's it like eating those vegetables you're producing right now?
It's great because you haven't got all those chemicals on. Because I don't use any spray or nothing in my garden. Everything is organic. You might as well say organic because I just use all organic stuff if I do anything.
What was your favorite thing about being all your years as a farmer? What could you say?
Just being out in the open air.
Oh, nice.
Just fresh air. What the Lord has created, you work with what He's given you.
Yep.
And I just love being out in the tractor or out working in the field. So I just love being out in the open air. As a little kid, I'd be plowing in the middle of winter, just out in the open air in the snow, and I loved it.
Were there things that you didn't really like during all those years?
Not really. But I set my farm up that I wanted to be there, not because I had to be there.
Yes. And how do you set your farm up in that way?
The way that I wanted to farm, not the way everybody else wants to farm.
And how was that?
I just like doing my own, just figuring things out, coming up with ideas, just doing my way. Maybe I'm stubborn that way. I don't know. I make it, so I wanted to be there. I had all my kids. I had 3 of them, and they all worked with me on the farm. During their high school years, they wanted to work with me.
Oh, that's really nice.
And now they're all out Western Canada doing their own thing. Their way of doing, but they're traveling all over the world, which I never did, and I'm jealous of my kids now because they took it right off, and they're just doing well in their fields of what they're working.
How old were they when they started saying, "Hey, I want to help you out there"? And
during high school, I gave a chance. I didn't force them to farm. They came because they wanted to.
And what were some of the kind of jobs that they did, high school age kids, for you?
Well, first of all, you don't give them all the dirty jobs.
No.
I did it myself, some of them, but given jobs that they wanted to do.
What was an example of a job they wanted to do?
Like driving tractor, or when they were really young, they would bring me lunch in the field on their bikes.
Oh, nice.
And then they'd ride, we had cabs on the tractor then, and they'd just ride with me for half an hour in the field. They just loved doing that for me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But then I can keep going. I don't have to stop.
Yep, that's right. You got time. You're sharing time with your kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're learning.
Exactly.
Earlier you mentioned that you didn't, as a kid, you just wanted to be on the farm. You didn't necessarily want to be in school. But the thing is, that's a school. Being outdoors and just every day and growing things and working with animals and working with plants, for me, that's the best education.
I agree 100%. Just try and error, and you make the mistake yourself. Okay, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
You learn from those, because there's too many. I find too many people today. They make a mistake in other fields, and they make the same mistake over and over again.
Oh, yes.
And when I made a mistake, I made sure I learned from that, and I teach my. When I was teaching my kids too, I let them screw things up. Not that you're going to lose a farm, but let them make mistakes so they can learn from their mistakes when you're still around you.
That's the best way of teaching.
That's what I think. Maybe that's why they're so successful nowadays.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They all got families, and
that's great. And you see them regularly, I guess?
And grandchildren. Oh, my grandchildren. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Every year we were out there. This year we were twice out there.
Oh, nice.
Don't give things to your grandchildren. Just spend time with them.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too about retiring. spend time with your kids. I never did with my own kids because I was too busy farming. But now I take that time to spend it with my grandkids.
Oh, that's nice. And I'm sure your kids appreciate it so much and love to have you around with them when you're with their kids.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? Yeah. And I'm sure your grandkids just love it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because some of them were coming to Ontario when they were still in diapers, not with their parents, but with their grandmother. She came several times, and she would bring the boys with them. They were still, but to spend 5 days with them on the farm, which they never had. We spent so much time out in the field, just being around me on the farm, and they loved it because that's something completely different for them.
Yeah, lots of parents don't have a whole lot of time with their kids, and so
exactly.
You just said earlier that you didn't have that much time. You didn't spend that much time with your kids, but you did in the field and stuff like that, and they enjoyed it.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
But I never went to their sports events either and stuff like that. Oh. That's one it's not all positive, but I never went, and that's one thing I'm sorry I never did. I never spent time with my kids because I loved farming so much. My kids paid for that too, though.
What do you mean they paid for it?
I couldn't go to their sports events when they were in high school or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just little things. Yeah. Maybe they're not that big, but still, it's not all positive. No, there are some negatives. And now, I see that now. I'm sorry I didn't take the time to do that.
Yeah.
And when I had my kids, I took holidays for the first time when I had my family and kids. Dad says, you can't take off holidays when we're farming. You wait and see, I'm going. We went with a whole group of campers every summer for 10 days. They had kids with their kids too.
Yeah.
Oh man, you can't put a price tag on that.
So you took 10 days every year.
Every year.
So you did take some time.
But then I got the first cut of hay off.
Yeah.
And then we went, so the second cut of hay could grow when we were gone.
Oh, so you well timed.
I couldn't take off any time, no.
Yeah.
But I found time where I could do that.
Oh, that's impressive. Says as a farmer, you have to be really organized.
Oh yeah, you have to be on top of things. Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
And now, now as a backyard gardener, what sort of how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm enjoying because I think the world's going crazy. Too fast for me. I could just slow right down and just work 5 days a week instead of 8.
And are you learning new things?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The day you stop learning is the day you're under the sun.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I like to say that. I'll keep learning until my heart stops beating. That's right. Well, Peter, it's been really great talking to you about this, and if anybody has any questions for you, I'll relay them over to you, or you could watch the video too and answer the questions yourself if you want. But I've really enjoyed doing this interview with you. I hope you've enjoyed doing it as well. We've been talking a lot over the years, and I've learned a lot from you, and I've really enjoyed sharing everything with you, and so this has been really nice.
Well, I'm just the type of guy, I have no secrets I'm willing to share. I'm a type of person, we don't have to have a big teacher, a big shot, just learn. I think we can learn from each other. Just might be little things, but just doing this is, anything I can help, that'd be great. But my mind is always open. I'm willing to learn myself from other people. I'm a firm believer from learning from each other.
Oh, me too. Well, Peter, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Peter, I came back today because there were a few questions that I realized that I didn't get a chance to ask you because, I didn't have my list of questions in front of me. I just kind of thought of it as I was walking, sort of come to see you last time. And also, I wanted to see some pictures, which you've just shown me. So today I just wanted to ask you a few more questions, which I've already done. And so, Peter, I had a couple follow-up questions that I forgot to ask you the other day. One was about, you had said that you started with about 40 cows, but I know at some point you had told me you had more than that. So I'm confused. So what did you mean by that? You had more cows?
Well, we were expanding just like everything else has to go bigger and bigger, and we did that. We started with 40 cows, and we went up to 60 cows, and then 65. We out in the 60 to 65 range. That was our goal. And then if we wanted to do more, I didn't want to be in the barn milking cows all day.
You were saying something about that you have calves, and your goal was to have fewer, like milk fewer cows. So explain that to me. The relationship between having calves and milking fewer cows.
Milking fewer cows, if your breeding program was good, like a replacement, the next generation of calves coming on should be milking more cows. Or not milking more cows, should be milking less cows, give more milk.
Okay, and how many calves, would you get a lot of calves with all your cows? Did they all have calves, or many of them?
Yes.
So how many calves might have you had at a time?
My goal would be is to breed a cow, though she drop a calf every year. You didn't get that, but that was your goal you aimed for. Ours was around 15 months, not 12 months, but my goal was 12.
And so how many cows and calves at once might you have had sometimes, all told?
150.
Okay, so 40, 60 cows and 90 calves.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So sometimes they'd have one calf and sometimes they'd have two.
Twins, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. And at one point you mentioned something about it was important for you to find your market before you actually grew something. And so how would you find your market?
Well, you find out where there's a market before you try to grow something.
But how? How did you find your markets?
How do markets? Just communication, reading the paper, reading the news, listening to the news.
Okay.
Yeah, I always went with an open mind.
Oh, nice.
And be willing to change.
Yeah.
I changed several times doing different crops. I learned a lot. I'm a type of person like trying different things. It doesn't always work out. You don't always make big bucks.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes.
And did you have fun making those mistakes?
It was I'll be honest, it wasn't fun all the time. Okay. But then I'm not going to do that again.
True. But I mean, was it fun, sort of just that kind of adventure of I'm going to do what I want, and if I make a mistake, that's okay.
That's my fault. I made that mistake. And take the responsibility there, yes.
I feel like it gives you a type of freedom. I don't know. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I have one last question for you right now. You were telling me that you do your own, you grow some of your own food now in your backyard. And so now you're growing, and that you grow sort of all sorts of different vegetables in a small area. Kind of like, you've seen my gardens and kind of how I do things, and so I was wondering what you think of that. How is that experience for you now? Planting, growing all sorts of different vegetables in a small space like that.
I just love doing it because I just love experimenting, trying different things, and growing my own food, and I get a great satisfaction eating my meals. Go to the garden to get my meals every day. It's fresh food. I don't do any spraying or nothing. I just pick all my weeds by hand, what's there, and just stay on top of things. I just love what I'm going at a slower pace right now, and I just love what I'm doing now. quite a time with rabbits this year in the garden. They were
Oh.
eating before I could get it, and so that's why the fence is around.
Yeah, I see you've got some chicken wire around
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah, that would take care of the rabbits. Is the chicken wire buried as well, or is it just on the surface?
Just on the surface, just fastened down on the 2x6.
The rabbits don't try and tunnel under it?
No,
Well, that's
not yet.
good.
Well, you can see where my beans are growing. I had greens growing all the way up to the top. I had to get a step ladder to get my beans. And then I got a raised bed given to me, and I just tried that. I just love it. I would like to get more of that. Just as I get older, it just makes it easier.
Yes, it certainly does. You know, you're telling me about the beans. I once planted beans on a TV antenna. You know, the ones that went way above the house? Yeah, I would like I planted at the base, and so I'd have to climb up like 4 or 5 meters up to pick my beans, just like Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, one other thing, we didn't say goodbye at the end, and so I wanted to make sure to get a chance to say to say thank you. And also to say thank you to everybody who's watching. So Peter, thank you very much for doing this interview with me, and thank everybody for watching. I hope you liked the video, and don't forget, if you have any questions, you can ask.
I'm a type of person that likes to share things with different people. I'm a firm believer in learning from each other, and I just want to take the time to say thank you for listening to what I have to say. I'm not always right either. I'm just a normal human being. But thank you for the time for watching what I have to say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment or a question. And have a wonderful week. And we will see you next time.
Here I'm driving in the Santa Claus parade. We had to get tractors every year for that. I did that for 5 years, making just supporting the Santa Claus parade in Belleville.
Very nice.
As tractor me, I was a tow tractor in case something broke down during the Santa Claus parade. There, I was just sitting in a nice heated cab. Everybody was out cold in the cold standing.